I felt my stomach drop through the floor as the words left Jason Whitfield's mouth. Time seemed to slow as I watched his lips curl into that smirk I'd grown to despise over the past 3 years. We're restructuring commissions. Yours is now 1.5% instead of 8%. The bile rose in my throat. The $2.8 million deal I'd just closed, the largest in company history, would now earn me $42,000 instead of $224,000. The difference wasn't just money. It was my son's therapy, my parents' assisted living, my wife's dream of working full-time at her nonprofit instead of worrying about our finances. My name is Dominic Rodriguez. I'm 53 years old, married to Rachel for 24 years, and I've been in enterprise cloud infrastructure sales for 20 years. Before that, I spent 8 years in the Navy, where they taught me that when someone breaks faith with you, you don't get emotional, you get strategic. I'd been at Nexus Cloud Solutions for nearly 16 years. 16 years of early mornings and missed family dinners. 16 years of working weekends and building the kind of client relationships that actually lasted. 16 years of proving that military discipline and old-school relationship building still worked better than whatever they taught at business school these days. Nexus sold cloud infrastructure solutions to major corporations, the kind of deals that take 6 to 8 months to close, where trust matters more than fancy presentations. The kind where an 8% commission could set you up nicely as you approached your later years. I joined Nexus after my Navy discharge and brief stints at 2 smaller firms that went under during economic downturns. At 29, with a mortgage and 2 young kids, Nexus seemed like the stable choice. Professional, established, the kind of place where military experience was valued and hard work got rewarded. For 16 years, I was right. I worked my way up from junior account manager to senior director of enterprise accounts. I was the guy they called when a deal was stuck, when a client needed someone who actually listened instead of just pitching features. In the Navy, we learned that mission success depends on understanding your terrain and your people. Same principle applied to sales. I had a reputation for taking care of my team too. When younger sales reps got overwhelmed or discouraged, I'd sit with them, share what I'd learned, help them develop their approach. There was this kid, Tommy Rivera, fresh out of college, reminded me of myself when I first got out of the service. Eager but green. I'd been mentoring him for about 18 months, and he was starting to hit his stride. When Selene Medical Technologies appeared on our radar, everyone said they were impossible to crack. They were revolutionizing hospital cloud infrastructure with AI-driven data management, and their CEO, Sofia Martinez, was known for being brilliant but impossible to impress. Every major cloud vendor had tried and failed to land them. Don't waste your time, Jason had said during our quarterly review. Focus on the deals we can actually close. Selene's a pipe dream. Jason Whitfield was 34, brought in from outside 3 years ago to optimize our revenue streams and modernize our client acquisition protocols. He had an MBA from Wharton and came from investment banking, where apparently they measured success in spreadsheets rather than handshakes. The guy had never actually sold anything in his life, but somehow he was now my boss. But I saw something in Selene that others missed. While other sales teams pitched them on cost savings and efficiency metrics, I spent weeks researching their actual operational challenges: integration with legacy hospital systems, HIPAA compliance across multiple data centers, the nightmare of medical device connectivity protocols. This wasn't just professional curiosity for me. My son Michael had come back from Iraq with PTSD, and the specialized therapy he needed wasn't fully covered by VA benefits. My parents were both in their 80s and would need assisted living within the next year or 2. Rachel worked part-time at a veterans nonprofit, but her income was unpredictable. That commission would solve every financial worry we had. For 4 months, I practically lived and breathed Selene. I talked to their mid-level managers, their IT team, even befriended their administrative staff. In the Navy, we called it intelligence gathering. In sales, it was just good relationship building. I learned about their frustrations, their expansion plans, the technical barriers preventing them from scaling globally. I also made sure Tommy was involved in the process. The kid was sharp, had a good technical background, and Sofia's team seemed to connect with his energy. More importantly, I wanted him to see how a complex enterprise deal actually gets built, relationship by relationship, conversation by conversation. When I finally got my meeting with Sophia, I didn't come in with a standard pitch deck. I presented a detailed analysis of their integration challenges and a roadmap for solving them. I watched her face shift from politely skeptical to genuinely interested. "You actually understand what we're trying to accomplish," she said, leaning forward in her chair. "Most vendors just want to sell us more storage space." "Ma'am, I spent 8 years in the Navy learning that you can't solve problems you don't understand," I replied. "Your infrastructure needs are unique because your mission is unique. Saving lives isn't the same as selling shoes online." That got her attention. It took another 5 months of meetings, technical demonstrations, contract negotiations. I worked 70-hour weeks, missed Michael's graduation from his intensive therapy program, developed stress headaches that kept me up at night. But slowly, methodically, we built trust. Sophia appreciated that I never oversold or made promises we couldn't keep. When her technical team had concerns, I brought in our best engineers, not our best salespeople. Tommy was invaluable during this process. He handled a lot of the technical documentation and follow-up, and his attention to detail impressed Sophia's team. I made sure Jason knew about Tommy's contributions, though I suspected it fell on deaf ears. The breakthrough came during a late-night conference call about data migration protocols. Sophia's CTO was concerned about downtime during the transition. Instead of giving him corporate talking points, I put him directly in touch with one of our implementation specialists who'd handled a similar migration for a major pharmaceutical company. "This is why we want to work with you, Dom," Sophia told me after that call. "You treat our problems like they're your problems." 2 weeks later, Celine signed a 5-year contract worth $2.8 million, the largest deal in Nexus history. The morning after the contract was finalized, I walked into the office feeling like I'd accomplished something meaningful. People who'd barely acknowledged me in the hallway were suddenly interested in learning my secret. The CEO sent a company-wide email congratulating the team, though he somehow managed to mention Jason's leadership more than my actual work. Tommy was excited too. He'd learned a lot during the Celine process, and I could see his confidence growing. I was already thinking about what accounts I could start transitioning to him as he developed his skills. My commission would be paid out when Celine's first quarterly payment cleared in about 4 weeks. $224,000. Enough to cover Michael's continued therapy, get my parents into a good facility, and maybe even let Rachel pursue her master's degree like she'd always wanted. That was yesterday. Today, Jason called me into his office. As always, Jason was wearing one of those expensive shirts that probably cost more than most people spend on groceries in a month. His office had floor-to-ceiling windows and motivational posters about disruption and synergistic growth, the kind of corporate nonsense that would have gotten you laughed out of a Navy briefing room. "Dom, fantastic work with Celine," his voice oozed artificial warmth. "Truly exceptional execution. The executive team is beyond impressed with the results." I smiled and waited. In the military, you learn to recognize when someone's about to deliver bad news. They always start with praise to soften the blow. As you know, we're always evaluating our compensation structures to ensure they align with market standards and optimize our growth trajectory. He shuffled some papers, not making eye contact. For deals exceeding $2.5 million, we're implementing a new tiered commission structure to better reflect enterprise value creation. There it was. I kept my expression neutral, another skill they taught us in the Navy. "What does that mean exactly?" I asked. "Your commission structure is being adjusted from 8% to 1.5%, effective immediately." He finally looked up, his smile not reaching his eyes. "Think about it, though. $42,000 is still a substantial commission. Most people here would be thrilled with that kind of bonus." The room seemed to tilt. I thought about Michael's therapy bills, about my parents' medical expenses, about Rachel working 2 part-time jobs instead of pursuing her passion full-time because we needed the income stability. "That wasn't in my employment contract," I managed to say, keeping my voice level. "It's a company-wide policy adjustment, effective immediately." His tone became more businesslike. "The market has evolved, Dom. We need to stay competitive while managing our margin structure appropriately." I sat perfectly still. 20 years of playing by the rules, of being the company man, of trusting that loyalty and results would be rewarded. The betrayal felt personal, but my military training kicked in. When someone breaks faith with you, You don't waste time being emotional. You start planning. Was this policy change planned before I closed Celine, I asked? Jason cleared his throat and looked uncomfortable for the first time. The executive team has been discussing compensation optimization for several quarters. The timing is unfortunate. Unfortunate. As if he'd accidentally stepped on my toe rather than stolen $182,000 from my family's future. I see. I stood up slowly. Is there anything else? Well, actually, yes. His confidence returned. We're going to need you to transition the Celine relationship to Tommy Rivera. Fresh perspective, younger energy. Clients appreciate that generational shift. Now I understood the full scope of what was happening. They weren't just cutting my commission. They were planning to push me out entirely, probably hoping I'd quit so they wouldn't have to pay severance to a guy who'd been there 16 years. Tommy's not ready for an account that size, I said. He'll learn. That's how growth happens. Jason's smirk returned. Besides, you'll be there to support him during the transition. Team effort. I nodded once, a sharp military acknowledgement. Understood. Congratulations again on landing the client, he said, dismissing me. We're fortunate to have someone with your experience helping develop the next generation. I walked out of his office without another word, my footsteps echoing against the polished floors as I made my way back to my desk. Other employees were going about their business, completely unaware that I was calculating the exact steps I'd need to take to destroy everything Jason thought he'd built. Tommy was at his desk when I got back, working on a proposal for a smaller client. Good kid, smart, reminded me of myself when I first got out of the service. He looked up when I approached. How'd the meeting go? Jason seemed pretty excited about the Celine bonus structure. Tommy, we need to talk. Coffee? 20 minutes later, we were sitting in the break room. I kept my voice low and professional. They're cutting my commission on Celine by 85% and want me to transition the account to you. His face went pale. What? That's insane. You spent months building that relationship. It gets worse. This is probably just the beginning. They're going to push out anyone over 45 who's earning significant commissions. You're young, cheap, and they think clients will prefer working with someone their kid's age. Tommy shook his head. This is wrong, Dom. You taught me everything I know about enterprise sales. Without you, I never would have understood how to build those relationships. I appreciated his loyalty, but I needed him to understand the bigger picture. Listen carefully. I'm going to resign today. When I do, they'll probably offer you my accounts and maybe a small raise. Don't take it. Why not? Because they'll do the same thing to you in 5 years when you're making too much money and some new kid comes along. This company doesn't value loyalty or results. They value profit margins. I pulled out a business card I'd had printed weeks ago and slid it across the table. I've been planning to start my own consulting firm, Apex Strategic Solutions, cloud infrastructure for enterprise clients. Same work, but we treat people fairly. Tommy picked up the card, studying it. You've been planning this? Smart soldiers always have an exit strategy. I smiled for the first time that day. I'm going to resign this afternoon. In about 3 months, I'll have everything set up. If you want to join me, we'll start you at $80,000 base plus 4% commission on everything you bring in. No policy changes, no bait and switch. Your word is your bond. What about Celine? You can't just abandon them. I won't abandon them. But I also won't let Jason take credit for work I did while treating me like garbage. I stood up. Think about it. In the meantime, don't tell anyone we had this conversation. That afternoon, I sat at my desk and composed my resignation letter. 2 sentences. Please accept this as formal notice of my resignation, effective immediately. I will not be requiring a reference. I emailed it to HR and copied Jason. Then I started packing my personal items into a small cardboard box. Family photos, my coffee mug from Michael's graduation, a small American flag Rachel had given me for my desk. At 2:47 p.m., Jason appeared at my desk, his face flushed red beneath his perfect hair. What the hell is this? He demanded, holding up his phone with my resignation email. I looked up calmly. I believe it's self-explanatory. You can't just quit in the middle of implementing our biggest client. This is completely unprofessional. Actually, I can. At-will employment works both ways. I continued packing. And regarding Celine, I'm sure Tommy will do his best. He's a smart kid. Several other employees had stopped working to watch our conversation. Word spreads fast in an office. "If you think you can take Celine with you, think again," Jason said, lowering his voice but not his intensity. "Your non-compete agreement is ironclad. We'll sue you into bankruptcy." I stood up, holding my box of personal items. "Jason, I've read my contract very carefully. I'm not planning to violate any agreements. I'm simply choosing not to work for a company that doesn't honor its commitments." "You'll regret this decision. No one walks away from an opportunity like Nexus." I looked at him one last time. "That's where you're wrong. I'm not walking away from opportunity. I'm walking toward it." As I headed for the elevator, I caught Tommy's eye. He gave me the slightest nod. Message received. The elevator doors closed behind me, and for the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe properly. I had 6 weeks of savings, a rough business plan, and 20 years of relationships in the cloud infrastructure industry. It was time to get to work. That evening, I sat Rachel down at our kitchen table and told her everything. She listened without interrupting, her face cycling through shock, anger, and finally, determination. "So they stole $182,000 from us," she said when I finished. "Essentially, yes. And now you want to start your own company. I don't want to. I have to. This isn't just about the money anymore. It's about proving that experience and integrity still matter." Rachel was quiet for a long moment, then reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "What do you need from me?" "That's why I married this woman. 24 years together, and she still surprised me with her strength. I need about 3 months to get everything set up. Money will be tight until then. I can pick up more hours at the nonprofit. And my sister offered me that project management contract last month. I turned it down because the hours were crazy, but now..." "Are you sure?" "Dom, you've supported this family for 20 years. Let me support you for a few months." She smiled. "Besides, I want to see you crush these guys." The next morning, I transformed my home office into mission control. First priority: incorporate Apex strategic solutions and set up the business infrastructure. Second priority: reach out to my network. 20 years in cloud infrastructure meant I knew people everywhere. I started with Oliver Hayes, a systems architect I'd worked with at my previous company. He'd been freelancing for the past 2 years after getting laid off during a merger. Smart guy, excellent with complex integrations, and completely undervalued by corporate America because he was over 50. "Dom, I heard through the grapevine that you left Nexus," he said when I called. "Word travels fast. It does when someone like you quits without notice. What happened?" I gave him the short version. When I finished, he was quiet for a moment. "Those bastards. You know, I bid on a project for Nexus last month. They wanted to pay me 40% less than my standard rate because market conditions have changed. I told them to find someone cheaper. How would you like to be a founding partner in a cloud infrastructure consulting firm?" Keep talking. By the end of the week, I had Oliver on board as Chief Technology Officer and Equity Partner. I also reached out to Victoria Stone, a security compliance specialist who'd been stuck in middle management at a larger firm despite being the smartest person in their compliance department. "They keep promoting guys with MBAs who don't understand technical implementation," she told me over coffee. "I'm tired of watching incompetent managers take credit for my work. How do you feel about working for a company where technical expertise actually matters? When do I start?" 3 weeks after leaving Nexus, I had the foundation of a real company. Small team, but experienced. We rented a modest office space in a business park, nothing fancy but professional. Most importantly, I started reaching out to former clients. I was careful not to violate my non-compete agreement. I wasn't soliciting business directly. I was just letting people know that I was available for consulting work, and that if they ever needed advice on cloud infrastructure challenges, they could reach out. The response was immediate and overwhelming. In the Navy, we learned that reputation is everything. In sales, the same principle applied. Clients remembered who had actually solved their problems versus who had just sold them products. Then Sophia Martinez called. "Dom, I heard you left Nexus. What happened?" "Creative differences about business philosophy," I said diplomatically. "That's corporate speak for they screwed you over, isn't it?" I laughed. "Something like that. We're having some concerns about the implementation timeline. Jason keeps sending different people to our meetings, and none of them seem to understand our technical requirements the way you did. I'm not surprised. Enterprise implementations are complex. They require continuity and relationship management. That's exactly what I told my board. Dom, I'm going to be direct. Would your new consulting firm be interested in taking over our cloud infrastructure project? My heart started racing, but I kept my voice steady. Sophia, I'd need to review your contract with Nexus first. There may be legal complications, already handled. Our legal team found a performance clause. If Nexus can't deliver on the original timeline with the originally promised personnel, we can terminate with 30 days' notice. And you're comfortable with that risk? Dom, you spent 4 months learning our business before you ever tried to sell us anything. Jason's been here twice and spent both meetings talking about optimization opportunities and value-added services. I don't think he even understands what we do. 2 days later, Sophia's legal team sent me a copy of their termination notice to Nexus. The reason cited was failure to provide agreed-upon implementation personnel and timeline adherence. Jason called me that afternoon. He was furious. "You son of a bitch. You stole our client." "Jason, I didn't steal anything." Celine terminated their contract with Nexus. "What they do after that is their business decision. You violated your non-compete. We're going to sue you." Actually, I didn't. Celine approached me, not the other way around. And according to Section 4.3 of my employment agreement, pre-existing relationships are exempt from the non-compete clause. I met Sophia at an industry conference 2 years before she joined Celine. Silence on the other end. His legal team had obviously already told him the same thing. "This isn't over," he said finally. "Jason, it was over the moment you decided to steal money from a guy who'd been loyal to your company for 16 years. You just didn't realize it yet." 3 weeks later, Celine officially signed with Apex Strategic Solutions. Contract value, $2.4 million over 5 years, a 15% discount from their original Nexus deal. My commission structure, 12% of gross revenue as founder and primary relationship manager. The first payment hit our business account on a Tuesday morning. I sat in my new office looking at the number on my computer screen, feeling the weight of responsibility more than triumph. We had 6 months to prove that experience, integrity, and client focus could beat corporate bureaucracy and MBA arrogance. The real work was just beginning. But for the first time in years, I was working for people I trusted, doing work that mattered, with a team that shared my values. Tommy had given his notice at Nexus the week before and would be joining us next month. The revenge was sweet, but building something better was even sweeter. The next 8 months were the hardest and most rewarding of my professional life. Our team worked around the clock to implement Celine's cloud infrastructure migration. Oliver's technical expertise was invaluable. Victoria handled all the compliance requirements flawlessly, and Tommy brought fresh energy and innovative approaches that impressed even Sophia's demanding technical team. What made it work wasn't just our skills, though. It was our approach. We treated Celine like they were our only client because essentially they were. Every problem was our problem. Every deadline was sacred. When Celine's CTO called at 9 p.m. with concerns about data migration protocols, I didn't pass it off to a junior technician. I got on the call myself. "This is why we chose you," Sophia told me during one of our monthly progress reviews. "When we worked with Nexus, I felt like we were just another line item in their quarterly report. With Apex, we're partners." The implementation finished 2 weeks ahead of schedule and came in 12% under budget. More importantly, it worked exactly as promised. Celine's data processing efficiency increased by 40%. Their security compliance improved dramatically, and their ability to scale operations globally became a reality instead of a goal. But the real validation came 6 months after implementation, when Sophia called with news that changed everything. "Dom, we're acquiring 2 smaller medical technology companies. Both need complete cloud infrastructure overhauls. Are you interested in a $3.2 million expansion project?" By the end of our second year, Apex had 12 employees and was generating $6.8 million in annual revenue. We'd added 4 new clients, all referrals from satisfied customers. Tommy had become our youngest account manager and was consistently hitting his targets. More importantly, he was learning to build the kind of long-term relationships that sustained careers, not just quarterly numbers. I made sure everyone on the team shared in our success. Oliver and Victoria each received equity bonuses that reflected their contributions. Tommy's commission structure was exactly what I'd promised, with no policy changes or surprise modifications. When we had a great quarter, everyone benefited. When we faced challenges, we solved them together. The contrast with my former employer became even more stark when Amanda Clark reached out for coffee. We met at the same cafe where I'd first started planning my escape from Nexus. "You're not going to believe what happened," she said, sliding into the booth across from me. "Try me. Jason got fired 3 months ago. Officially, it was restructuring, but everyone knows the real story." I set down my coffee, genuinely surprised. "What happened?" "After you left with Celine, he promised the board he'd replace that revenue within 6 months. Instead, 3 more enterprise clients chose not to renew. They'd all worked with you previously and weren't interested in starting over with new account managers." She paused to let that sink in. The final straw was when he tried to implement his optimization strategy company-wide. Cut commission structures across the board, assigned junior reps to senior accounts, the whole MBA playbook. 7 experienced salespeople quit in 3 months. How bad is it now? They're down almost $8 million in annual revenue. The company's been hemorrhaging talent and clients. Word is they're looking for a buyer. Amanda leaned forward. "That's actually why I wanted to meet. I heard through LinkedIn that you're hiring business development managers." 2 months later, Amanda joined Apex as our Director of New Business Development. She brought with her deep industry relationships and a thorough understanding of what didn't work at traditional firms like Nexus. By our 3rd anniversary, Apex Strategic Solutions had grown to 16 employees with annual revenue of $8.5 million. We'd moved to a larger office with actual windows and conference rooms that didn't feel like storage closets. More importantly, we'd never lost a client, and our employee retention rate was perfect. The success allowed me to focus on things beyond just survival. Michael had completed his therapy program and was thriving in a new career as a project coordinator for a nonprofit that helped other veterans transition to civilian life. Rachel had finished her master's degree and was now running her own consulting practice for nonprofit organizations. My parents were comfortable in an assisted living facility that actually felt like home rather than an institution. For the first time in years, family dinners weren't dominated by discussions of financial stress. But the moment I knew we'd truly succeeded came during a client meeting with a Fortune 500 healthcare company. Their VP of technology, a woman in her early 40s, was explaining why they wanted to work with Apex instead of the larger firms that had pitched them. "Frankly, we're tired of working with companies where the person who sells you the deal disappears the moment the contract is signed," she said. "We want to work with people who understand that implementation is where relationships are really built." After the meeting, Tommy pulled me aside. "Dom, I just want you to know that everything I learned about sales, I learned from watching how you treated clients and employees. This is how business should work." That evening, I sat in my office as the sun set over the city, thinking about the journey that had brought us here. 3 years ago, Jason Whitfield thought he could steal from me and I'd just take it quietly. He underestimated what happens when you betray someone who spent 8 years in the Navy learning that mission failure isn't an option. The best revenge wasn't destroying Jason's career, though that happened naturally as a consequence of his own incompetence. The best revenge was proving that treating people fairly wasn't just morally right, it was a better business strategy. When young salespeople asked me for advice, I always told them the same thing. Your reputation is your most valuable asset, and it takes decades to build, but only moments to destroy. Companies that don't understand this fundamental truth will always struggle against those that do. Sometimes I wondered what would have happened if Jason had simply honored the original commission structure. I'd probably still be at Nexus, helping to make other people rich while my own potential remained limited by corporate politics and MBA groupthink. In trying to diminish me, he'd accidentally liberated me, and in building something better than what I'd left behind, I discovered that the greatest victory isn't defeating your enemies. It's creating something so successful that your enemies become irrelevant. Dominic Rodriguez was exactly where he belonged, leading a team that shared his values and serving clients who appreciated excellence over efficiency metrics. Some days, that felt like the best revenge of all. Sometimes the greatest gift your enemies can give you is forcing you to discover strengths you never knew you had, and the courage to use them. The moment someone tries to diminish your worth is often the exact moment you realize just how valuable you really are.